Damn you, Pixar. Every time I come up with something cute and original, you guys have to swoop in and steal my ideas and do it 10 times better than I would. Case in point. This is my little anthropomorphized dumpling drawing I made for my boyfriend for our anniversary. And then 6 months later, Pixar do their little short before Incredibles 2 called Bao, and it's essentially the exact same character but 10 times cuter. And it's probably gonna win an Oscar, and it made me cry. No fair! Hey up guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the latest film from Pixar. I'm not sure why I'm really bothering because I'm probably the last film vlogger in the world to have seen Incredibles 2 because, yeah, Disney decided to release it in the UK like a month after everywhere else in the world got to see it. Rude! Anyway, regardless of how late this review is, I still wanted to talk about it because I supremely enjoyed this film. It's been 14 years since the previous Incredibles movie hit cinemas way back in 2004. And yeah, 14 years seems like a very long time for a sequel, but this one is also written and directed by Brad Bird, and it starts pretty much immediately where the previous Incredibles movie left off. Almost to the minute. Familiar beats of the previous film are heard in the setup. Once again, the superheroes' bids to stop the Underminer cost the taxpayer and the city thousands of dollars worth of property damage. So in reaction to this, the government just bans all superheroes flat out. This means the family, the Parr family, who are the Incredibles, have to go into hiding once again. Or hiding in plain sight, just as regular people, if you will. Shortly afterwards, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone are approached by a corporation led by the Dever siblings. Winston, who is the operator, and Evelyn, who is the designer. And they're both big fans of superheroes, and they want to see the laws changed to make superheroes legal again. So they come up with this plan to alter public perceptions about superheroes by using Elastigirl as their star, because her track record as a superhero has been the most cost-effective, if you will, in not causing as much damage as, say, Mr. Incredible. So she is their best bet to show how superheroes can just be a force for good without being a cost to the taxpayers. So there's enough of a familiar narrative without it being a beat-for-beat copy of its predecessor. I'm actually very grateful that Brad Bird took his time to craft a story that he thought was worth telling, because The Incredibles 2 feels incredibly timely. There is a lot of smart ideas and relevant discourse presented in this film. Firstly, I love what it has to say about modern families and gender roles. It's genius having Elastigirl thrust into the spotlight here and become the primary breadwinner of the family, whilst Mr. Incredible, or Bob, takes care of the kids. 2018 has been labelled the year of the woman, and there's this dynamic shift occurring now in society where more men are staying at home and looking after their kids and being stay-at-home dads. And it's refreshing to have a film now reflect this sociological shift. So already this film has a empowering feminist undertow. And Brad Bird has said in interviews he always set out to make a family movie first and a superhero movie second. And that's why audiences love this franchise, because for all its superhero whimsy, at the core this is still a film about family. And whether you're a parent or a kid, or if you've been a kid, you can still relate to that. So it feels very universal. And there's so many wonderful positive messages in this film as well. I really love Mr. Incredible's character arc throughout this film, because he wants to be supportive of his wife so she can be a hero, meaning that he can be a hero, but that means he has to stay at home and be, the stay-at-home dad for a little while. And yeah, the lessons he learns, they're wonderful, because there is heroism to be found being a stay-at-home parent, okay? Like, being a parent is the hardest job in the world because it's the one job you can't quit, and you don't really get a day off from it either. It is an exhausting, never-ending job when you think about it. And watching Mr. Incredible struggle being the primary caregiver of 3 kids that need constant attention, help with their homework, and of course Jack is discovering his powers, and it's this whole mess of things he has to deal with. He understands how his wife must have felt, because being a mom, you have to stretch and yourself so thin. He sort of gains this deeper understanding of what it was like to be her. It's just wonderful to see him learn and understand that and grow as a character. It's just very rewarding. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the villain in this film, who is known as Screenslaver. And I had heard from some people that they thought that the villain in this film, Screenslaver, wasn't as good as Syndrome in the previous Incredibles movie. And I will agree, the villain isn't as good as Syndrome, okay? It doesn't have the same emotional connection that Syndrome had with Mr. Incredible, okay? This, however, is still a very smartly crafted villain, because he represents a lot of what I agree with is wrong in society, And yeah, I think it's a very smart villain. I think Brad Bird was probably inspired by Black Mirror when he came up with this, because the screenslaver essentially uses all screens, whether it's phones, computers, TV screens, to hypnotize people watching and basically become his puppets. And yeah, I think it's a very smart commentary on our culture where it is now, because we are just obsessed with looking at screens. Even right now, as I'm doing this review, you are watching a screen. So yes, this is what we do. We are constantly looking at screens, okay? We are bewitched by them. And it's also having a detrimental effect on us as a society, as a culture. And the villain says this, okay? He says, you don't live in reality. You just watch reality TV shows, even though reality TV shows are fake, okay? You don't participate in life because you're too busy observing it through a screen, okay? You're too busy liking other people's Instagram pics. It's all you observing passively instead of actively engaging in life. And it's true. We are just slaves to screens. I actually think this is one of the smartest villains in a good while. You know your villain is solid when you actually agree with them. But my issue with the screenslaver was that the revelation of the identity of this person was very obvious, okay? It's very predictable. So I think most people will be able to figure out who it is from the moment they see the character on screen. On screen. Also, Incredibles 2 can be viewed as an examination of superhero culture as a whole. Since the first Incredibles movie back in 2004, there's been this massive explosion of superhero culture. It's reflected in our box office. You can see it between the MCU and the DCEU rivalry that's going on. There's all these TV shows that have sprung up, which are all superhero based. It's incredible to see how much impact and influence it has now on us as a culture and what we consume. It's everywhere, we're saturated in it. But what The Incredibles 2 does is that it manages to get the audience to look at the superhero genre from both a pessimistic point of view and a dreamer point of view. It makes us question, does the genre inspire us to be better? Or do we simply just use superhero movies, and the consumption of superheroes to distract us from the misery of our own lives and the constant threat of living in this world that feels so dangerous and volatile sometimes? That's what I love about this film, is that it just presents so many different ideas and leaves you, as an audience member, questioning things. Good movies entertain, but great ones leave you thinking. There's so much subtext and layers and social commentary in all Pixar films, and that's why everybody loves Pixar, because kids love it for the action and the comedy and the wonderful characters, and the parents also love it for those reasons, but they also love that, they love the messages of Pixar films and how relatable they are. And, even though it is escapism, it has something to say. Incredibles 2 honestly is one of the most thought-provoking films of 2018. That is not an exaggeration. But people will want to know, is The Incredibles 2 better than The Incredibles? I don't think it is a better film, but I will say it's just as good. Everything across the board is praiseworthy. The brassy, heroic score from Michael Giacchino. The design for this film has that wonderful 60s aesthetic, fused with contemporary elements as well. The animation is gorgeous and meticulous, particularly in the action scenes as well. They're very well crafted, they're creative, they're just entrancing. We also get more Jack in this film, and he has a scene-stealing sequence with a raccoon. Everyone's gonna love that scene. My only other negative about this film is just that we didn't get enough Edna Mode. She's such a delightful character, but she's used sparingly in this film, sadly. We do get a bit more Frozone, but I would have loved a little bit more Edna Mode. Let's ask those 3 questions. Would I watch this again? Undoubtedly. Cannot wait to watch it again. Would I recommend that you guys go watch this? Yes, everybody can watch this film and enjoy it. Whether you're a kid, a parent, a grandparent, there is something for everyone. It's action-packed, it's got great comedy in it, and it's got so much heart. And what score am I gonna give it? Incredibles 2, forgive the cheese, is incredible. It is a terrific sequel, just phenomenal across the board in every way. Not quite as excellent as the first film, but excellent nonetheless. So I'm gonna give Incredibles 2 a 9 out of 10. Definitely gonna recommend that everyone go sees this. And my question for you guys today is, have you seen Incredibles 2 and what did you think of it? Is it better than the predecessor? Is it on the same level? Is it not as good? Or what are your thoughts on it in general? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you guys want to be incredible yourselves, you can hit that subscribe button, okay? Thanks so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.